Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a pre-fight show for UFC 215, Johnson versus Borg for the UFC Flyweight Championship of the World, and then Nunes versus Shevchenko for the UFC Women's Bantamweight Championship of the World. And wow, this card is stacked top to bottom. I keep saying to my friends and fellow fight fans around my neighborhood that, look, this is one of those cards that's going to be a sleeper where no one's really going to pay attention to it, but it's going to be one of those cards that for the people that do watch it, they're going to be glad they watched it. And I keep telling everyone I know, watch this card. It's going to be really good. All the fights are going to be explosive and exciting. And there's talented UFC veterans stacked top to bottom on this card. I mean, you got former Strikeforce lightweight champion of the world, Gilbert El Nino Melendez, kicking off this main card at featherweight. How exciting is that? I mean, he was the lightweight champion, dominant champion in Strikeforce, and he's really pushing this campaign for featherweight gold now, and then he's fighting veteran Jeremy Stephens, who's been fighting at featherweight for some time now, and that's just the starter of the pay-per-view card. And then you look at the prelims, you got Henry Cejudo and Wilson Hayes, and then you got RN Bueller versus Luis Enrique in the heavyweight division on the Fight Pass prelims. So stack card top to bottom. But yeah, there's a pre-fight rundown of the main card, and let's get started. So the main event is for the UFC Flyweight Championship of the World. Demetrious Johnson trying to set the all-time world record, new world record, in 11 consecutive title defenses in his title reign as champion, and he needs to stop Ray Borg. Ray Borg's a young guy, very talented. And I'll make it quick on this. I'm picking Johnson by second round knockout. However, I think the way the landscape of this division is, Ray Borg works his way back up to a rematch and possibly wins the rematch. I think Ray Borg is too green right now to win against a guy like Johnson, but I think in a rematch he's going to have a much better chance, because he's going to get that much more experience, and then he'll learn from this loss as well. So not to take anything away from Ray Borg. Talented guy. I think this is one of the toughest challenges of Demetrious Johnson's title reign right now. And I just think Johnson's going to find a way to get a knockout in the second round, if not somewhere else in the fight. I think Borg's going to look to mix things up, and Johnson's going to find some flashy knockout in this fight. Then, making his 11th title defense, setting the new world record, beating Anderson Silva and technically George St. Pierre, in my opinion, depending on how you look at it. Look it up. I'll explain in the comments if you want me to. Well, I'll explain right now. It's 9+1 for GSP. And anyways, I could explain it more in the comments if you like. In the women's bantamweight division, in the co-main event, we have Amanda the Lioness Nunes versus Valentina Shevchenko. And I'm picking Valentina Shevchenko by unanimous decision here. I think she wins rounds 3, 4, and 5, and I think Nunes wins the first 2 rounds. So it's a close, it's going to be a close, hard-fought fight, but I think Shevchenko just barely squeaks out that decision because of her cardio. But they're both talented strikers, and Amanda Nunes throws heavy shots, especially the first couple rounds. And I think her gas tank's going to diminish, and the power and the shots are going to diminish. And Shevchenko is going to be landing more 3, 4, and 5. But yeah, this fight is pretty close. This is like one of the most even women's bantamweight championship title fights in a long time in the UFC. Then also in the main card, in the welterweight division, we have Neil Magny versus Rafael dos Anjos, former UFC lightweight champion of the world. And Neil Magny, man, this is going to be, I believe, his 17th fight in the UFC, 17th or 18th fight, somewhere in that ballpark. And Neil Magny's fought, who's who. He's coming off a big win over Johnny Big Rig Hendricks. I think Neil Magny gets it done, second round knockout. I think he works his jab and he works his footwork, and Dos Anjos will be running around, but eventually Dos Anjos will get caught and Magny will get the knockout, and I believe it'll take till the second round to get it done. Because, I mean, Dos Anjos, he runs around fast and he's going to figure him out. Magny will get it figured out after the first round. Then, knock him out in the second. Then in the light heavyweight division, also on the main card, we have Ilir Latifi versus Tyson Pedro. This one I kind of went back and forth, but I'm going to go with Tyson Pedro. I think first round knockout. I think his chin's going to hold up a little bit better, and Ilir Latifi is capable of being knocked out. He's more chinny, I think. And Tyson Pedro is hungry for a big win, and a veteran, established veteran in the UFC like Ilir Latifi. So this win will really elevate Tyson Pedro in the light heavyweight division and possibly make a new contender and crack him in that top, really put him in that top 15, elevate him in that top 15, top 10. Tyson Pedro is the real deal. I mean, I've watching this guy's previous fights. Like, I can't. It's hard to pick against him unless it's a top 5 guy, maybe top 7 guy. But I think outside the top, say 7 in the light heavyweight division, Tyson Pedro should be able to destroy those guys. And then in the featherweight division, we have Jeremy Stephens versus Gilbert Melendez, and I'm picking Jeremy Stephens by knockout. Second round. I think Jeremy Stephens, his willpower and his heavy hands get it done here, and I think he's just he's the fresher fighter in terms of wear and tear in the last few fights. Gilbert Melendez has had multiple losses, and Stephens has had his fair share of losses, but I think Stephens is less wear and tear, and I think that's going to be the difference maker. And also, I think he's going to be more comfortable at featherweight than Gilbert Melendez is. And Jeremy Stephens will get it done, second round knockout. And there you have it. There's my pre-fight show. Stay tuned in the coming days for my post-fight show after this amazing event, and we'll see if I'm right, wrong, and how well this event lived up to my hype. And so until then, I will see ya.